Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack and Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. Not had the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsayingwjs for article and video updates. Jack, week 13 continues at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
Again, we are in Miami this weekend to watch your Giants take on the Dolphins. That is going to be a blast. Stay tuned for content coming out there. Also, a show out there. Again, we'll be live and in person, which is nice for Jack and I just to get to spend time together and do this live instead of over Zoom.
Absolutely, yeah. And getting ready for the Miami Sun, man, definitely.
Oh, I'm ready for it, dude. You have no idea. But let's jump right into these games.
Yep.
Indianapolis Colts heading to Houston to take on the Texans. AFC South battle. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Colts obviously coming off that tough loss last week to Baltimore. Antoine Winfield Jr. came out, just absolutely got that interception on Carson Wentz at the end. We saw Leonard Fournette, 4 touchdowns last week. Very exciting, for the Colts to be able to bounce back against, a division rival in a favorable matchup on the road.
Yeah, I'm definitely locking in the Colts on this one. They played well against the Buccaneers. They ran the ball a lot with Jonathan Taylor. Didn't get 100 yards. We still did well running on the ground. They'll continue doing that. The Texans, lost to the Jets last week. Yeah. Got a weird interception at the very first half, and then we're kind of MIA during the second half. It happens, but I just think that the way that the Colts are playing right now, the way that the Titans are playing right now, they know that they can really kind of swoop underneath and steal that AFC title AFC South title right from underneath the rug underneath their feet. So I'm looking forward to that Colts game. I think they're going to definitely win. Expect Jonathan Taylor to have a big one.
Yeah, obviously, Jonathan Taylor, we've been talking about him all year, as everybody has. Right now, he is the Russian king, and it's well-deserved. He has 14 touchdowns on the ground, 1,200 yards right now. Derrick Henry still, after his injury, is still the only person behind him. But, he has about 300 yards on Joe Mixon, the guy right behind him in the active players. And, I mean, the way Houston hasn't really been able to score, the Colts have been able to, shut down some of the best offenses in the whole league this year. Hard to bet against them. They are a top 5 scoring offense right now, 28.3 points per game. And, the Texans only scoring about 15 points a game, not something you want to see from them. So I'm going with the Colts as well.
Yep, I love it. All right, moving on. NFC North battle. My Minnesota Vikings going to Detroit to take on the Lions. Both teams coming off of tough losses. Both teams have their starting running backs injured with shoulder injuries. Both are listed as week to week. Dalvin Cook, torn labrum. Can't remember DeAndre Swift's injury off the top of my head, but I know it's a shoulder injury. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, definitely going to be looking at the backup running backs in this. As you mentioned, the top 2 guys are out. So, Alexander Mattison for the Vikings, who's been able to step in for a couple of games this year. And we've seen him obviously in years past, but definitely an opportunity for him to step up. The Vikings are in a really interesting spot. They're in the 8th seed right now. 5 and 6. They definitely want to get some wins and catch back up in the NFC, man.
Yeah, and both the 2 games that Alexander Mattison started, he rushed for over 100 yards. So he did do well. He did play well. He'll be serviceable, definitely in place of Dalvin Cook. We're going to hope that he's back later on the season. But Justin Jefferson, man, having himself a year. Yeah. Third in receiving yards right now. 6 touchdowns on the year. Has had 7 games with 9+ targets. That's insane. Yeah, he's hitting like all major categories. He's top 10 everything. Got to keep feeding him. I do think that this is a crucial game for the Vikings. If they lose this one, I think our playoff hopes really begin to dwindle out right there. This is a trap game for us. This is an easy team. This is a beatable team. This is a winnable game, even without Dalvin Cook. But you can't sleep on the Lions. They're constantly there. They're constantly fighting. You can't just say this is a definite win. I do think we are going to win this one, but this is a trap game. This is a defining moment right now for this Vikings team and whether or not we're going to make the playoffs and how we're going to play for the rest of the season, I think.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Vikings. I mean, last time we saw them, they were at home, and, it was earlier in the season, week 6 and week 5. And, Alexander Mattison stepped in for Cook, and he had 25 carries for 113 yards. I expect the same thing from him. I expect them to kind of lean on the run in a favorable matchup. Detroit almost got it done last week, but they couldn't get it done on Thanksgiving. And the Vikings have won, 5 of the last matchups against them and their division opponents. Kirk has a very good record against them. I believe that Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson have great matchups. And without DeAndre Swift to run that Lions offense, it's a very tough, uphill battle for them this week.
Yeah, we also might be getting Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson back this week, which is big news for the Vikings front seven. All right, but moving on. Your New York Giants taking on the Miami Dolphins. We will be there. Be at the game. It should be a good one. Daniel Jones, though. Danny Dimes, your favorite. Next train. What are your thoughts on this game? Might not be in there. Might see Mike Longneck Lennon.
Yeah, Mike Lennon, man, it's a tough year for the Giants. The injury woes just continue to keep going with us. And I mean, now it's just continuous where, we're going to have to now lean off of, our passing game and look more towards Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's looked okay in his last couple of weeks coming back. But this Giants team right now, they got a big win last week and kind of kept themselves alive against the Eagles. They're going to have to step up, with them being, this is a favorable matchup in the sense Miami is hot right now, but they're still not a team that can just beat anybody. They have to be able to have their defense lean on. This is a good matchup for them. But, we saw, the fact that, the Giants were able to get 3 interceptions on Jalen Hurts, make him uncomfortable. They're going to have to do the same thing with Tua this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure about this Daniel Jones injury with the neck strain. I know he's practicing like he's going to play, but the neck it's a tricky injury. And if you end up starting Mike Glennon with all the injuries you have, certainly Shepard is going to be out in this one, and so is Kadarius Toney. These are, the wide receiver injuries are just piling up for you guys. It's getting brutal. Now you're going to have to go with the backup quarterback. This is a tough game. No offense to the Giants because they're not the Arizona Cardinals when you're down your 2 wide receivers and setting your back up. It's a very different team, and you guys are coming off a big win. Dolphins are riding hot, but they're in their home stadium.
Yeah.
I know we're going to be there, but I think I got to go with the Dolphins. The defense is playing really well. They really shocked us last week against the Panthers.
Yeah.
If Daniel Jones is in, though, I think you guys can definitely win. But if you guys have to go to Mike Lennon, he just doesn't have the running capability that Daniel Jones has, that he can just take off for at least 20 yards from time to time.
Yeah, if Daniel Jones is out, definitely, caution with this, because they'll be leaning more on Kenny G and Evan Ingram and, without Daniel Jones's running ability, it's going to be tough. Mike Lennon's a pocket passer. Miami has, made even Lamar Jackson, one of the better running quarterbacks, look, bad this year. And, Miami at home right now, they're 3-3. There's really not too much to tell with that. The Giants away record right now, they're 1-4 in their away games. I don't really like this matchup either if Daniel Jones is out. So I'm going to go a little 50-50 here. And if he's in, I'll go with the Giants. If he's out, I can't. I think it's Miami's defensive scheme is too good. Their defense has, Jalen Phillips and Javon Holland. Their rookies have been absolutely killing it this year. So, it just depends on the quarterback matchup here.
All right. I like that. That makes sense. I agree with you. Moving on. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Atlanta, taking on the Falcons. Antonio Brown has been suspended for 3 weeks for giving a false vaccination card. He's also going to be out 2 weeks anyway with an ankle injury. What are your thoughts on this one? No Calvin Ridley still for the Falcons. It's going to be the Cordell Patterson show, of course.
Yeah, and it's got to be. I mean, right now Atlanta, they have been, struggling, and some, they're 5-6, but this is the weirdest 5-6 team I've ever seen. They're the 5th lowest scoring offense. They're allowing the 2nd most points in the NFL right now. We saw them get destroyed a couple of weeks ago by New England, and last week kind of a closer one with Jacksonville, but not a favorable matchup for them, even though they're at home this week. With Tom Brady right now, he's 3-0 against them. He already has beaten them this year. I'm not super favorable out the gate for this, but Atlanta has some playmakers.
Yeah, again, that offense goes through Cordell Patterson. That has definitely been the guy that they rely on, and and lean towards. But I think that the way that the Buccaneers have been playing, and last week Leonard Fournette was a huge part of their
Yeah.
offense, just running everywhere. 4 total touchdown game, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 100 yards, 31 in the air. I got to go with the Buccaneers. I think that this is a very beatable team in the Falcons, and they should win this game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that this is a really good game for Tom Brady to get it right. His last 4 games, he does have six interceptions and 9 touchdowns, but those 6 interceptions, he's got to clean those up. We're in December. This is very crucial time. Right now, they're the highest scoring offense in the league, 31.5 points a game. Tom Brady right now leading in the passing touchdowns right now with 30. Very impressive from him. Hard to bet against them right now where they're at. And they've already beaten Atlanta this year. They put up 48 points in week 2. So gonna be big show out for Tom Brady this week.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Moving on. Philadelphia Eagles staying in MetLife, but this time taking on the New York Jets. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, wow, I got to say, Sean was right about Zach Wilson. Huge comeback victory last week. They were playing the Texans, but, there was a point last week we saw some flashes from this Jets team that, we were not really, ready for. I think what's crazy is now we're looking at it like, the Philadelphia Eagles are coming off a tough loss. They've just played in the stadium. They probably want to get a win in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Wilson played well in the second half for sure.
Yeah.
But I like the way that this Eagles team has been playing all year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna trust more on that. Zach Wilson, only second week back from injury. The Jets haven't looked great on offense, and defense have been a little bit more inconsistent. I think that the Eagles, they've at least shown us slightly more consistency in terms of their offensive and defensive play, whether it's Darius Slay picking up fumbles for touchdowns or Jalen Hurts and Jordan Howard and everyone running for 80 plus yards a game. So I'm going to trust that and what they can do. This is a beatable Jets team for them. I'll lock in the Eagles.
All right. Yeah, I'll do the same. Honestly, I think that after last week, the Eagles have something to prove. We've been talking about the NFC division race off camera, just, how tight it is. And, the Eagles are 5-7 right now. They're in a position where they have to go into this crucial time of the year and win. And we saw, Jalen Hurts, 3 interceptions last week. We say that he has stuff to improve on, but that's definitely a game he's going to look back on and say, it was my bad. Time to get ready. And I think that, right now he's about, he has about 700 yards on the ground and 8 touchdowns. He's kind of making up for it with his legs. And the Jets are really not the team you want to go against. They are the team you really actually want to go against because they are, allowing the most amount of points. And with the Eagles having the top rushing offense right now, I think they're going to control the clock and win the game like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And also, best rushing offense in the league, 157 yards. Yeah. Third worst passing offense, or the tale of 2 taped the Eagles on offense. Yeah. Moving on, Arizona Cardinals heading out to Chicago, taking on the Bears. Bears got a big win on Thanksgiving. Andy Dalton had lost 5 prior leading up to that Thanksgiving game. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the Cardinals, we just got news right before this that Hop and Murray they should be playing. And when you get your quarterback back, when you get your wide receiver 1 back on the team, these are guys that change the game. So, very interesting matchup, going to go against the Chicago defense that just lost Khalil Mack. And, it's interesting, it's when you're looking at this Cardinals team, they're a very high seed right now, 9-2. The Bears, they have lost, 5 out of their 6, excluding the one last week. But, I do like the Cardinals out the gate a little bit more here. I love what James Conner's been doing as well. I got to mention that.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. It's looking like the Cardinals are going to be getting healthy for this weekend. Underlying great season that someone's having. Robert Quinn, 11 sacks.
Yeah,
didn't play great last year for the Bears. Is really having a bounce back season, and in the absence of Khalil Mack, the All Pro in so many positions.
Yeah.
But with the Cardinals getting healthy, where they've been playing defensively, I think that this is going to be a low-scoring game. Cardinals coming off the bye, going right into some cold weather up in Chicago. They're used to that slightly warmer weather down there in the Southwest. So I think that's going to be not the prettiest game for the Cardinals. I think they're going to end up walking away with the win. I think that they're a better team overall right now than the Bears. I do still expect Darnell Mooney to be a huge part of this offense, regardless of how well the Cardinals secondary have been playing. And Montgomery, of course, although this defense again of the Cardinals hasn't been great against the rush, gonna be running the ball a lot with him. Got to keep it on the ground, control the clock as best you can. Because again, best way to beat some of the best teams, make sure their offenses aren't out there. Make sure they're not able to put up points.
No, exactly. And Montgomery, since coming back from the injury, has, had over 13 carries in all of his games. He's averaging over four yards a carry. And I mean, for him to come back, this is important for them right now. If they're going to win games. Allen Robinson's out. As you mentioned, Darnell Mooney is, a huge factor. We were talking about him going into that Thanksgiving game, and he showed up. He had 8 targets, 5 catches, and 123 yards through the air in that one. So definitely look out for him. But the Cardinals, they got Budda Baker over there in that secondary, not a favorable matchup for him this week, but he is the only option. I think he's going to get a lot of volume. Like you said, I like the point you made about it being a low scoring game. Definitely some, raunchy defenses here and really gritty defenses in these cities. So definitely up with the Cardinals this week and how they're going to be able to do it. I just think the Bears are in a really tough place this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they're also going to be out. It's looking like Roquan Smith has not been participating in practice so far this week. That's not what you want to hear. He has been electric. He's, again, not someone who's getting enough attention on this Bears team. Yeah. 113 total tackles, 70 solo. Just some great stats. Incredible. Some great stats. Incredible. But moving on. Last game in the 1 p.m. slot that we got here on the docket. Yeah. Los Angeles Chargers going to Cincinnati on the Bengals. Now, the Bengals, they didn't dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. They harassed them. That was not a fun game to watch if you were a Steelers fan or just a fan of the AFC North battles that have happened over the many years, especially in that stadium in the playoffs or late on in the season. So what are your thoughts on this game? Chargers coming in town.
Yeah, dang. I mean, that was bad. You just gave me like flashbacks. You were talking about it to last week. Just that, they were absolutely ahead of that game the entire time. I mean, the Steelers, it felt like, they just were not able to get anything done. And this is what this Bengals team has become, a very tough team to play, especially at home. I mean, they showed out last week and, Joe Mixon is playing so incredibly well. I mean, we have so many great storylines in this game. We have so many to talk about. I mean, first off, you have the top 2 draft picks of last year when it comes to quarterback, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, both great quarterbacks. They both have great running backs as well. They have Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, and then you got Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. We talk about these weapons all the time, and now they're finally getting to collide. So, I mean, are you excited for this one? Who are you most excited for here?
That's tough. I'm really pumped for this one. I think I'm more excited for the Chargers. They're coming off of a brutal loss against the Broncos. You want to see a cleaner game from them with that pick 6 coming in. That was ugly. Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler on that play were off. It seemed like they were not on the same page. You're hoping for a bounce back game, at least offensively, for sure. You want them to pick it up. That was not fun to see. The Bengals on the other side. Jamar Chase has been quiet over this last 4 weeks. Pretty beatable Chargers team when it comes to the passing yard. So I feel like this is an opportunity for him to get back on track. Maybe give us another 100-yard game, get right back into that offensive rookie of the year conversation. But honestly, I think I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. I think they're going to end up winning this one. They're at home. They're coming off a big win against the Steelers. Fans are probably pumped. They're coming into this one being like, we were just in the first place in the AFC. Now we're not. Let's go back and get it. Look at how our team is playing. We just killed the Steelers. Yeah. We can do anything. The high that this team and this fan base must be feeling right now, go for it. I'm all on board with it. I think the Chargers are going to play much better than they did last week for sure. But I think the Bengals are going to end up walking out on top.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be going Chargers the whole time. In my head,
I wanted to. You know me. I love Herbert.
I know, of course. And, For me, I love Cincinnati as well. Like I mentioned, where this team is right now, they're just in a win mode. Something that definitely is carrying over with this Joe Burrow-led offense. I mean, they're the sixth highest scoring offense right now, and they're the sixth best team when it comes to getting scored against. The Chargers right now, shockingly, are giving up the third most points in the league. And, Justin Herbert, although he has played these tight games, and this will be a tight game. These are two quarterbacks that for the next 10 years we're going to be debating, who do you want at the end of a game? And Justin Herbert right now has 5 comeback victories, which is leading the league. It's hard to bet against him in a close game. But the Chargers are also giving up 145 yards on the ground right now. And when you're looking at the second active rusher and Joe Mixon, he's going to go off. I mean, the way we've seen him have these, Joe Mixon games the last 2 weeks,
165 yards last week, too.
Yeah, exactly. And, 30 carries, 28 carries, back-to-back games. And in the last 2 weeks, he has 58 carries, as I mentioned, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, this is a prime game for the Bengals to lean on their run game and, maybe get your guy Jamar Chase a little more love this week.
Let's open up his play action pass, Zach Taylor. Let's go. I want to see more of it. I believe in you, Bengals. This is the playoff year. Do they break the drought? I don't know, at least in terms of winning a playoff game, but do they make it? I believe in them. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's where they're at right now and where they were at the beginning of this year. I was talking about, Zach Taylor being on the hot seat this year. You are no longer on the hot seat. It is quite cold, Mr. Taylor. I promise you.
Yes, it has cooled off for sure. All right. That's all the time that we have. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys for always checking this out. Remember to check our video. We're going down to Miami this weekend to watch the Giants play the Miami Dolphins. We'll have that up, justsayingfootball.com, and on YouTube, Just Saying Football. Just Saying no GWJS on Instagram for all your video and article updates. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Enjoy
the games.